Get ready to take a chill pill because things are about to get radical. It's time for another edition of Nerd Bracket. As per usual, our sort of yearly tradition is we do our own little bracket challenge. There really wasn't any specific franchise to focus on, I feel like, this year, but I did notice 1984, it's a 40-year anniversary for a lot of these movies. 1984 may be one of the best years in movies, I think. Because we got about 16 movies here, and we could come up with 10 more to talk about here, I feel like.
Easily 10 more.
Easily 10 more, right?
Yeah. On this list.
So I want to get in front of this right away, because we already talked about this a little bit before we started recording. I did not come up with these rankings. If you have any problem with the rankings themselves, blame IMDb. I went on there and I searched 1984 movies, sorted them by popularity, took the top 16. Rules are pretty simple. We're going to just kind of look at each movie. Each one of us has one vote. Majority moves on here. And before I forget, let me introduce our panel of experts here. As per usual, my co-host from Popcorn Bucket List, Ryan Meyerberg, is here. Okay, so neither one of us were born during 1984, so it felt wrong to not have an expert here. Here we have, I like to call her Mama Meyerberg, joining us here today, here to help us out with determining the best movie of 1984. Any other questions before we get started here?
I think that's good.
Good.
Let's just start at the top here. Number 1 seed, according to IMDb, again, gotta just remind people that. 16 Candles going up against the 16 seed, Police Academy. 16, also probably the number of sequels Police Academy has probably at this point, right?
And I don't even think the original cast, they only did 3 of them?
Yeah.
And then after that it was Dunzo.
After that it was just Police Academy in name only.
Yeah.
But let's just do a simple hand raise to show for a vote. Any votes for 16 Candles?
Well, God, it's hard.
It's hard. My thing is, I like the Police Academy films more, but everybody and their dog has seen 16 Candles. Everybody.
You don't have to. Don't feel like we're pressuring you.
Yeah.
If you want, you can still vote for Police Academy. It won't mean anything, but you can still do it in principle if you so choose.
Well, that's a hard one because 16 Candles, like you said, everybody's seen it. It's good with Molly Ringwald and stuff. But Police Academy, it's just good humor.
It's good. It's good.
But I'll go with 16 Candles.
All right, so
I'll
all
go
three,
with the flow.
16 Candles. Moving on. All right, coming up next. This one I think is going to be a really close one here. We have the, I believe, Best Picture winner of that year, Amadeus, versus the number 9 seed, This Is Spinal Tap. We talked about spoof movies counted with Police Academy here. Arguably one of the best spoof movies of all time versus one of the better biopics of all time. So, who's voting for Amadeus? We got one vote for Amadeus. This Is Spinal Tap.
I'm going for This Is Spinal Tap.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a chance. You can make an argument if you so choose to try and sway one of us. We've done that in the past before as well. I want to give you a chance to defend Amadeus here, because it is close for me.
Yeah, I tried to watch This Is Spinal Tap.
What is it about
times.
This Is Spinal Tap that doesn't work for you?
I don't know. It's too stupid.
I watched this a long time ago when I was in my heavy music days, and the whole bit about the amps going to 11 instead of 10 it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Spinal Tap, fantastic.
One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I don't know. Has anyone been swayed? I guess I'm just asking as a formality. Nope.
Yeah.
Spinal
I
Tap,
think
is
so.
that one going on here?
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like it's going to look like we're ganging up against you, and I just want to. That was not my intention here.
It's for your little ones.
This is Spinal Tap. Moving on to the next round here. Coming in here, the next one, the number 4 seed, Ghostbusters, known to take on various specters and demons, going up against their own demon, Nightmare on Elm Street. All right, who's going for the number 4 seed, Ghostbusters? I kind of figured this. Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm
I kind of
Street.
figured
Way
you
more.
leaning towards that.
I knew
All right.
that.
Same formality. Try and sway one of us.
Ghostbusters, it's great. It's awesome. It's funny. I know some people are not huge fans of Bill Murray, and that's totally fine. However, Nightmare on Elm Street started off a franchise that is still making. They just had a reboot like a couple of years ago. I love horror movies. The idea is great. Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, was awesome. I think a young Johnny Depp was in the first one. It was just a great film. I would watch that over Ghostbusters, but more people, I would say, also they don't want that dark, scary stuff. They want
We like a little comedy.
Yeah, we like comedy.
Well,
So
Ghostbusters gets dark and scary there too.
It does. And
like when she starts levitating above the bed,
yeah,
and he just happens to have Thorazine to knock her out on a date, which we never really address enough as we should. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
In a whole different way, but it's pretty creepy.
Yeah, they're both good films. I would just go with Nightmare on Elm Street, but
you would, because
So have either of us been swayed by this argument? We still vote in Ghostbusters?
no, he'll
All right.
go horror every time.
I'm afraid of no ghost, and neither is the next round. Final matchup over here on this side. Once Upon a Time in America versus The Never-Ending Story here. We got a gangster versus a fun kids movie here. This is probably one of the weirdest matchups we have. All right, who's voting Once Upon a Time in America? Never-Ending Story?
I'll go with Neverending Story.
Okay.
I watched.
I was kind of on the fence.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to pick until I said it out loud, and then I think I'm going Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
I think I watched Neverending Story once in my
We've all
life.
seen at least clips of like both of these or something like that.
And I did watch Once Upon a Time
Okay.
in America clip, and I guess I'm at the point where I don't mind a black and white movie, and it's a gangsta movie.
Yeah.
So I
It's
would
like one of
probably
20
watch that one over Neverending Story.
Yeah, it's like one of 20 Robert De Niro. I almost said Robert
Yeah.
Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro's done, so it's like, I mean, he's always been good at them, but this is kind of a little something different, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of a little bit more fun. So I guess we're saying the upset here. The 12 seed beats the 5 seed. Moving on. Never-ending
Not
story
doing this
never
all
ends as it continues here. Heading on over to what I'm calling the east side. The number 2 seed, Terminator, versus the number 15 seed, Paris, Texas. Paris, Texas probably is the one I knew the least amount about here. Has anyone seen Paris, Texas?
Nope.
Okay, I just want to.
Nope.
I just want to get in front of it, so that way we kind of knew where we stood here on this one. So
Arnie.
we're still gonna vote here, but for
Arnie.
yeah,
Yeah.
Terminator.
I
We're all
will be
gonna,
back.
yeah, no one's gonna vote against Arnold here.
Yeah.
No one's gonna vote against Arnold. Glad we got that one out of the way. That one was a quick one. This one I think is gonna be a little bit more interesting here. Beverly Hills Cop versus Temple of Doom. Not the best Indiana Jones movie here, but still coming out in 1984. Still got some good moments here. Versus Eddie Murphy. Who's voting Beverly Hills Cop?
I'm gonna go Beverly Hills Cop.
I don't know.
And who's voting Temple of Doom?
I'll go Temple of Doom.
I was gonna go Temple of Doom.
Until
I
now.
swear I'm not doing this to. This makes me look so bad, doesn't it? It makes me look so bad. It's not the best Indiana Jones movie, but I actually defend this one more.
Yep. I think that
Than
was
most.
the first Indiana Jones movie that I saw was
Wow.
Temple of Doom.
That must have been quite a shock.
Yeah.
I gotta go Beverly Hills Cop, unfortunately. As much as I do love Temple of Doom, and I went into this thinking I was gonna vote for that, but it's hard to beat Eddie Murphy, especially in the 80s. Was there any celebrity that had a bigger decade than Eddie Murphy in the 80s? I mean, he was the king of comedy.
Yeah, he was the guy.
He basically owned SNL while doing all these movies. So so it was 2 votes for Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we're.
Well, you could sway me. Okay, go. We could go.
I mean, king of comedy. That's all I got for sway here. I guess. The only thing I can say is that's the best Beverly Hills Cop movie. That's the 3rd best Indiana Jones movie, which is still better than most movies. Both of these movies are better than most movies, if we're going to be completely honest here. But I thought I was going to go Temple of Doom, and then I couldn't get myself to raise my hand. So all right, another one here: Dune, the 1984 version versus the movie 1984, which came out in 1984. Which makes it so it's really hard to Google 1984 movies in IMDb.
Yes.
Because when you click 1984 IMDb, it just sends you straight to this movie. We all just watched the first 2 Dune movies of this new series, this movie like covers all of that ground in one movie.
In one movie.
Yep.
Versus another movie that, how well is it aged? Kind of scarily well.
I was
Yeah.
going to say the same thing. It's kind of if you
Like,
really take a
well,
look
and that's
at
the
it.
scary part,
Yeah.
right? So, whereas this movie hasn't aged as well, mainly because there's a new version of it, I guess, out there.
Yeah.
Number 3 seed versus number 14 seed. Who's voting for Dune 1984? Who's voting for 1984 of 1984? There we go. Yep, there's another upset for you.
We like the upsets.
We do. This one may be the most difficult one for me here. The number 6 seed, Footloose, versus the number 11 seed, Karate Kid. Who's voting Footloose? Who's voting Karate Kid? I thought I was going to have to fight for that one.
Nope.
I thought for sure I was going to have to fight for that one. I had like a whole argument ready to go.
Sorry.
I had one of my classic 1 minute rants ready. Oh, we don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
You
He
can't beat the ending
He
of
just
Karate
crane
Kid.
kicked Footloose out of here. No more dancing.
This might be a hot take, but I think Footloose, it's good, but I think it's slightly overrated a little bit. I don't like that. It's an okay movie, but it's like, it's not my cup of tea movie.
Oh, I'm gonna get heat from my mom on that one, which is why she's not here right now, probably. All right, so let's just move into the second round here and determine our final 4 here quick. Let's head back over to this side of the board. 16 Candles versus This Is Spinal Tap. Who's voting for 16 Candles? Who's voting for This Is Spinal
Spinal
Tap?
Tap.
Only because the jokes in this one have not aged. Some of the jokes in this one have not aged well.
Yeah.
Whereas you can still quote This Is Spinal Tap and not be hated on by Twitter.
Yep.
Next one, Ghostbusters versus Neverending Story. Who's voting for Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters.
Sweeping it right there. Yep. No surprise there.
The story has ended.
All right, moving back over to the east side of things. Terminator versus Beverly Hills Cop. Both take place in LA, I think.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Terminator takes place in LA too.
I think
it?
that I don't know.
I feel like it's West Coast somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go with that.
That's just, it's somewhere on the West Coast, whatever. All right, we got Arnie versus Eddie. Who is voting for Terminator? Who's voting for Beverly Hills Cop? I swear we're not doing it on purpose.
You just invited me to
I
beat
swear
me
we're not
up.
doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
Would you like
convinced
to?
me.
Again, this is another close one for me. So, is there anything you can say to maybe sway us?
Nope, not a thing. I'm happy with my vote.
All right, so Terminator. Moving on.
Sorry, Eddie. You've been terminated.
Final round, 1984 versus The Karate Kid. Any votes for 1984? Any votes for Karate Kid?
Karate Kid.
I mainly vote for Karate Kid just because I love Karate Kid 2.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
Empire Strikes Back of martial arts movies. With that, we have determined our final 4. We are now going to narrow it down to the champion of 1984 here. Do we have a preference on which side we want to start here?
Doesn't matter.
Let's shake things up. Let's go over to the east side then first. Just do a little something
Alright.
different. A
Sure.
little plot twist.
Oh.
All right. I already feel like this is going to be a tough one here. The Terminator versus the Karate Kid. It's the guy with the guns versus the guy with the crane kick. Any votes for Terminator? Karate Kid. Uh-oh.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Okay, good
Uh-oh.
deal.
All right, Ryan. If you want to try and sway us, the floor is yours.
All right. I like the Karate Kid. It's a good film. Terminator, in my opinion, I like it a lot more. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger does a great job. I think the whole cast does a fantastic job. The action-y, when I think the 80s, I think 80s action. That's what I think of. And the Terminator is 80s action. Karate Kid, yeah, it's got a little action. It's got some fighting. But it's a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of this. I want some fighting. So that's my take.
I feel like, if I remember correctly, they bleed more in Karate Kid than they do in the movie with the guns. So if you want to talk about action, arguably there's more action there. And also, when I picture the 80s, I do picture action. There's a lot of action. But I picture it was a big year for teenage and high school movies as well. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect little mix of both. With the action and the teenage element, I feel like. Because there's a little bit more relatability here. Moving to a new school, having to find new friends, dealing with bullies. How many people could say they relate to a time-traveling robot?
That's what I relate to. But.
Okay, we maybe need to talk a little bit more about your backstory then.
No.
Oh no, we're not gonna get okay, we're not gonna get into it. Now I'm more curious than anything. Has that swayed either of us?
Not me.
Not you?
Not me.
Not I as well. I think I'm gonna stick with my guns.
Yeah.
Even though the guns are in this movie, I'm gonna go with Karate Kid personally.
Yep.
Over to this side. This is Spinal Tap versus Ghostbusters. Votes for This is Spinal Tap. Votes for Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You surprised me.
That was another one I thought we were gonna have to fight you on again.
I've really enjoyed Spinal Tap. It's a great movie. I would almost say it's more of a niche film. Not everybody's gonna like it.
As we've proven
As
here today.
Yeah. Whereas Ghostbusters is a lot more, when you think the 80s, a lot of people think of Ghostbusters. That's one of the films that they think of.
All right, with that
I don't know.
championship matchup here, do we need a moment to kind of debate it? I don't know if I want to go right into this one here.
You know,
I maybe need to think about this one.
Karate Kid has a good message.
It does.
Ghostbusters is fun.
Whereas the Ghostbusters, the message is don't listen to the EPA.
Yeah, don't listen to
Look, that guy is a jerk, but he's kind of right.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of jerks to each other.
I don't know, that's a tough one for me.
Because I also think about rewatchability. They're both
I could
very
watch
easily
either of these
to
movies
watch.
right here, right now.
Watch again. I would say Ghostbusters would be more in the cultural zeitgeist as of today, I think, than Karate Kid. Everybody knows that ghost symbol. There hasn't been a Karate Kid movie for a couple of years. Some kids, do they even know that Cobra Kai is related to...
Probably not.
There's probably some that don't know that. That's right.
That it's just, they just think it's Cobra Kai. They just think it's a story from... You know,
They probably watch those flashbacks and just think, oh, it's just MDH.
It's,
You don't even think that it's...
Yeah, it's,
there is, though, a new Karate Kid movie coming up with both Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. So, well, but, I don't... Okay, let's strike that from the record. That doesn't exist yet. I don't know.
Gosh, I don't know either.
I'm ready to make my decision.
You ready to make your decision?
Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
All right, yeah, let's just go.
Well, I don't.
Let's
it's
just go
hard.
into it. Votes for Ghostbusters.
I have to.
We
Yeah,
all
Karate
going
Kid.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it's close.
I'm sorry, it is close.
They're
It's close. But like I said before, like this movie should not have worked. And the fact that it works as well as it does, the comedy works as well as it does. The effects at the time weren't even that great, but I mean.
Well, I still think they're cool effects. Like,
Yeah.
you can tell it's not
These
real.
are SNL alumni comedians talking about like paranormal, apocalyptic, biblical stuff.
Yeah.
And it works somehow. Whereas, yeah, this movie does have a better message,
It's
for
a
sure.
feel-good movie.
It is a feel-good movie. But this one makes me laugh more. I don't know.
But feel-good movies don't win you nerd bracket.
Okay.
That's our tagline right there. Feel-good movies don't win you the nerd bracket. So yeah, we're all saying Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I think we're
Are
all
we all
saying
saying it? All
Gotta
right.
do it.
There it is. Ghostbusters. We ain't afraid of no ghosts. We're calling them. All the other puns, everything. You've kind of said a few of them already.
Yep.
But yeah, Ghostbusters. Best movie in 1984, determined by us. Let us know if you agree or disagree. What are some of the ones you think should have won overall? Are there any that were on this list in both episodes that you wish was on here in general? Let us know. either in person, carrier pigeon, comment section, however you want to get in touch with us. We accept all forms of communication, I guess, really. But with that, I want to thank my panel once again for hanging out here down in the basement once again with me. Hopefully you'll check back in with us next year. We don't know what the topic's going to be. We do something different every year. But this has been another edition of Nerd Bracket.